Hello, good morning. How's everyone doing today? Welcome to another great episode of the Development Sector Series, which is Dev Sector Series. If you like what you've been watching so far, please like and share and subscribe to this channel so that you can get more notifications when we go live. On Facebook, there's a notification on your live that lets you know when so that you can be notified when we go live. As you know, last week we spoke to Osarume Akenzwa from Leap Africa on their Social Innovators program. This week, we're going to be having a special guest. Given the current situation of our nation, with what happened in Owo, Ondo State, may the souls of the faithful departed that passed away during that period, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. So what happened, and then going through the APC primaries, the PDP primaries have happened. We want to know the state of the Nigerian democracy, and I have a very special guest on this program. He is a veteran journalist, been a journalist for decades, since I was in diapers, okay? And he knows the trend, the political trends in Nigeria in terms of what has been happening, because research says knowing past trends can relatively predict what will happen in the future, and providing recommendations on what we can do to steer our course to the right direction for equity, justice, and just an open society for everyone. So I am having a special guest today. His name is Mr. Agbonsuremi Okhiria. He's been a mentor to me. He's a media practitioner and the executive director of the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMORG. So please allow me to introduce to some and present to others Mr. Agbonsuremi Okhiria. Good morning, sir. How are you? Good afternoon. Today, it's afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. I know it's morning on your end. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, and always a pleasure to roll with you on your schedule and your program. It's a pleasure for me to be on the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. As you can see, there's a lot going on in Nigeria with regards to the political climate and what is happening in our nation. And your insight is going to be extremely invaluable to our conversation on today. So we're just going to go ahead and get started, sir.
All right.
All right, sir. Okay, so my first question to you, the first thing that charted the course for the elections is the Electoral Act and some of the amendments that happened. Do you think it's going to make a difference in the 2023 elections?
Yeah, I think we should. I would start on a note that a note of optimism that the amendments that came up with the Electoral Act is part of the incremental moves we have seen to move forward in entrenching institutional developments in the political space. Of course, Nigeria is a democracy, and what we do is under any democracy, the rule of law, the engagements are all predicated on the rule of law and the legal framework that governs the space. So the Electoral Act amendment that came on through some of the expansions of the space, the Independent National Electoral Commission had asked for so much of these expansions over the years, and the successive governments have either because of their political interests didn't want to go through some of the space that INEC needed to be able to operate in. Now we talk about how do we transmit our results? How do we what is the management of the polling unit? How do we manage our polling units? We have graduated from a situation where we count manually we count all the things, and then somebody comes, take the ballot box and runs away, to a state where we had the card where everybody thumbprint and then the records is kept there. So even if you take the ballot box away, it doesn't really matter. They already have the records. We are not there yet. We are not there yet, I must say, but we have had to acknowledge that we have moved from one stage since 1999 to a stage now where we can now begin to see how technology can help us play well in the political space, particularly with elections. But there's still so much that we need to do with the Electoral Act. We could just be asking for more within a short space. We want to move very fast because we have that democracies we are comparing ourselves with. We want to look at the institutional framework expanded, strengthened, such that we can have better electoral management, particularly in the process of voting, collation of the votes, announcement of the votes, and then we enter the judicial process of review and all those things that will happen around all of it. Yes, we have made some progress, but I can tell you that we still have a lot of move to go. We want a situation where you can stay in your house and cast your vote. We want a situation where people can vote ahead of time. If you don't want to wait till election day, you can do an advanced vote. We want a situation where people can just jump into the polling unit, and within a few minutes, and they are done with what they want to do. We want a situation where there's more confidence in the electoral process, such that people have confidence in the process, that when they will have the confidence that their vote will count. So these are some of the things we still need to take steps to begin to remedy, because even with the development we have seen in the Electoral Act, the space that has been expanded, recently by the amendment that was signed, we still have some areas that we still need to do to strengthen it and to increase more confidence in the system.
Okay, thank you so much for that response, sir. We're going to go to the next question. So, we have many political parties, but we have the two major ones, the PDP and the APC. What are your thoughts on their primaries and what the output that is coming from that so far?
I think this is where the major problem is with our democracy. The leadership recruitment process, which begins with the political parties. Now, our political parties structures, are they democratic? I will tell you no. They are not as democratic as we want them to be. Because when you have the political parties take decisions that reflects the generality, the interest of the generality of the people, of members, all of them coming around, then you can begin to say we are having a democratic process that is encouraging, that is all inclusive, that people are participating in it, that that is representative enough for everybody to have confidence in it. But if it is such a process where we have owners of a party, we have people who have entrenched interests, their own personal interests, we have money playing a greater role, and we have a lot of outside the political field play that you want to ask, are they actually representing the people? Then that's where the problem is. Let me take you into what we have today so that we get it clear. You have the Independent National Electoral Commission registering political parties and setting its criteria and all those conditions for a political party to be registered. You must be widespread. You must be you must have so number of sponsors or followers. You must have all those conditions that are set out, and you have political parties vying and bringing out their candidates for elections. Now you have very good to narrow it to PDP and APC as the question is, so that we don't travel too wide on all the other political parties. Now we are even seeing the primaries of PDP and APC. The other political parties just pick candidates. We don't know how they pick their candidates. Where they just come up and pick their candidate. They tell you this is the flag bearer. Maybe it's the chairman or the owner, in quote, of the party that is the flag bearer. They just come up. What are those ingredients that are required, that should be required for PDP and APC as the major political parties to have convinced everybody that these candidates that are coming up are the candidates that should be right within the framework of the people, generality of the people available in Nigeria to take the leadership mantle? These things are not there. Look, what I have heard people say recently in the last 24 hours up to this morning when the APC is about concluding its primaries is that the two political parties have on their own picked candidates that the generality of Nigerians may not have if it were an open election, if there were selection or election of candidates by the generality of the people, assuming that we have no political parties and we have independent candidates only, and we say everybody who has interest to go in. There are people who probably Nigerians will say, no, these ones are not there, this one should not be there, this one should not be there. But we are stuck with whatever the political parties bring up. If they bring out anybody, it's just like the monarchical rule we had those days. If a king is going to be succeeded by his first son, if the first son is an idiot, you have an idiot for a king throughout your lifetime. So this is what we are seeing in the structure of the political parties, that they do not actually have the democratic framework within the kind of democracy that you should see, internal democracy you should see, that will pop up the kind of leadership that we have. Now, how many people? About 2,300 people at Eagle Square selecting the candidate of APC. The PDP we also saw that happen, where the delegates come up to who are these delegates? How were they picked? How much confidence do people have on the delegates to be able to pick the persons that reflects and the yearnings of our people from the number of people that came up? These are some of the questions. If you look at PDP, all the candidates that were there right from the beginning, who should probably have been the best candidate in the eyes of the public? Peter Obi pulled out of the PDP because he says the money politics was, in fact, a candidate, the former Minister of State for Education, who paid 100 million naira to enter the race in APC, he must have spent at least another 100 million naira running around. He was absent at Eagle Square. He's absent at Eagle Square. And what we are getting is that he says money has overtaken everywhere. He didn't even appear at all at Eagle Square to even join in the contest. So the snipers from people close to him indicate that the guy was just tired of, playing in the arena because money became too much. I don't think we are there yet in the primaries that we are electing. We are conducting to get the delegates. But let me also quickly say that it is also a delight. It is one ladder we can use, that the parties are even conducting primaries at all.
It's true.
That the parties are even saying, okay, let the candidates come and let them contest. Let us even have, what we need to do now is to begin to streamline the process and purify the process, remove money from it, and then we remove all the political influence that will go with it. I know we cannot remove all the political influence, but we can do something about the monetization of the process that makes it possible for a candidate to budget $20,000 for delegates, $10,000 for delegates, $5,000 for delegates, and they distribute it through our system, the banking system, cash. I don't know how it is done. This is why I believe that we can really do something about it. That the elections are holding is even something to encourage us. It means that we have something we can build off of. But what manner of elections are we getting? What manner of elections are we seeing? Are we actually seeing the kind of delegates elections the candidates elections that we really would desire? We are not there yet. So that is the big challenge. Okay, so some persons will say the APC and the PDP will give us whichever candidate they want. They have the structures, they have the money, they are widespread. So if you are looking at Peter Obi's Labour Party, he will need to work very hard to be able
Yes.
to reach the kind of level that we have. Then if we have a balancing that can ask the public to take charge, once these political parties have thrown up their candidates and we can mobilize the community of Nigerian voters to take it off from where they are, then it is possible for us to pick a candidate from whichever party that. So if the political parties will now be conscious of the fact that if they do not bring out a good candidate, the public will reject them. Now, have we gotten to that level of enlightenment where Nigerians can just wait patiently and allow them to do whatever thing? If they let them bring whoever they want to bring, we have the ultimate decision to decide. We can go to any party, and so anybody who is dissatisfied with the processes in APC and PDP can actually go to any other party, and people will say this is the kind of person that we want. So the parties will now know that in future they need to work with the flow of the public to know who might be popular for them to take. Are we there yet? I will also say we are not there, because even the population itself, even the general population, there are challenges. In 2019, we have over 74 million people that were registered to vote, and only just under 29 million came out to vote. If you look at the percentage, it's not encouraging. So where are the others? I mean, we have 74 million with PVC. We had about 84 who registered to vote. Only 74 went to pick up their PVC. Out of that 74, we had just less than 30 million people coming out to vote. So that is a problem. What is the cause? Can we begin to look at those causes, those problems, those challenges?
Do you think it's just apathy that could be causing that? People just feel like they are not, their votes don't count, or the process is rigged? Like, how do we?
It's a combination of many factors. Apathy is there. We have people who just say, the politicians, they tell lies. They tell everybody that their vote will not count. It's a lie, like we say at PRIMORG. When you say your vote will not count, you are buying a lie told by politicians to discourage you to go and vote. It's actually a lie. Vote will count if everybody come out to vote. But they have perpetrated that lie that many people believe that if they don't need to go and vote. So they fall into that trap of the politicians encouraging people not to come and vote. Because if the vote is not going to count, why are they buying votes? Why do they spend money at police units? 5,000, 10,000. Why are they spending money overnight? They go to villages and give everybody rice and this thing to say, please vote for the party with this symbol. Vote for the party with this is our symbol. Why are they going as if the vote does not count? The vote counts. They know that vote counts. So the people need to be sensitized. They need to know that they can take a decision. Let me ask, if you check the last record of the Independent National Electoral Commission, the voter register, 51% of those who are registered to vote are between the ages of 18 and 35. That is enough to change the calculation in Nigeria. Young people who are between the ages of 18 and 35 constitute 51% of the voters, at least as at the 2019 elections. And the figure, if you see the rate at which young people are also registering to vote now, the figure is going to go up. Now, these class of people are students who are at home now, who should be angry enough to pick up their PVC and go and vote. This class of people between 18 and 35 are the class of people who are jobless, who have no job. They have taken education that is half-baked. They are unemployable, if you ask me. So they should be angry enough to say, look, let us change the system. But will they come out? So this is not a matter of just apathy. There are a lot of other factors, the lies that is in the system. So Nigerians need to work hard, and the civil society and the media, civil society groups and the media, they have a lot of job to do to be able to tell the people that this is the situation, that if you want a candidate from party C that can solve your problem, all of us can go out and vote and get that party C into power without them giving us any money, rice, or anything that we have to do. I also hear people say, take their money and don't vote for them. That is also a lie. It's also
Mm.
perpetrated by the politicians, that when you take their money, you can take it and go and vote for them. Look, we are talking of credibility and integrity here. Why do you want to take anybody's money and not vote for the person? Why don't you damn the consequences? Tell them to go with their money, and for that's the only way we can get it right with the processes.
Thank you for that expansive response. So now we've talked about elections and trying to mobilize people to vote. Do you think that it's going to make a difference with the insecurity in Nigeria? I just saw a comment from Mrs. Olutu here. She says here already, your safety at the polling center or booth is not guaranteed. So like, and she even responded here, why will I risk my life when the polling booths are filled with thugs? So do you think there are a lot of people already thinking about their safety in going to the polling booth? So as we're looking at elections vis-a-vis insecurity, what do you think?
I wouldn't want to discount the fears by anybody. I don't want to stand here and discount the fears by anybody that, oh, everywhere is safe. You don't have any problem. You go out there and vote, and nobody will harm you. I don't want to discount that fear, because we have seen it, particularly in Kogi. We saw what happened in Kogi the last time. Now, but let me also quickly say that it's also part of the lies that has been told by politicians, that you are not safe at polling unit. Let me explain it. I have a friend, somebody I know very well, who was contesting a local government elections, and he had the intention of contesting a local government elections. In order to prove his own mantle, he had to work with the governor to secure his own local government areas, to be able to say, I did it, I delivered my local government. He said when he saw that the elections were going wrong, that was, I think, 2007 elections, when the elections were going wrong, and he discovered that, look, these are things that could go against him. He kept a blind eye to thugs who will come into that place to disrupt the elections, so that at least no record will be even given to there. Thugs came to disrupt the election. I was winning, but thugs came to disrupt the elections. Now, the game is that, one, disruptions and violence don't happen in place where it don't happen only in places where people are winning. They also happen in places where they are losing. So if you think I am coming to disrupt the elections so that you will not win, that is the only way, it is not true. If where I am also losing, and I discover that I am losing, and it's not going to work out where the figures are not going to tally well with me, I go there and disrupt the elections. Now,
Wow.
we have also tried, we must also give credit to our policemen. I don't like running down the security agencies for the kind of job that they are doing. I don't like to say that they are not, after all, they are not from the moon, they are Nigerians. They also collect the money, they collect the rice, they are also susceptible to some of these influences. But they have done quite a lot over the years to reduce violence at polling units. And they know the flash points. They know exactly areas, states that are more violent in the time of elections. What we need to do as a people is to do our own, call it vigilante at the polling units. Because if the community people come together and say, look, we don't want violence at this polling unit, there will be no violence. The thing is that the apathy and the interest of the people, the way people have decided that, look, it is not my business, I don't want to just go there and vote, has made it possible for the few who want to perpetuate violence to buy guns and give to people to, disrupt the elections. If they know that the people are resolved, and we have seen it, where people are resolved, things go smoothly. They do things, and everybody knows if you go there, nobody is going to spare you, because in communities, in villages, in this area where we have our population, they know themselves. So the politicians find it convenient to tell you that don't go there, or you just be killed if you go to that place. I am not also, like I said, discounting the fact that you should not be conscious about your life, and you should not be conscious about your safety. But the fact is that collectively people can make the difference if all of us resolve that elections should be held without violence. And the police should also be equipped properly. They should be given the kind of training, they could be given the equipment to be able to put their lives on the line. We have seen so many of them who were killed during elections. And at the end of the day, when they are killed and they are gone, we don't think about them. We don't nobody even takes record of who is the policeman. Was the wife driven out of the barracks after he died? Are the children going to school? Do they have insurance? Nobody. We are not really careful enough to take a look at what our security architecture should be, how to strengthen them to be able to protect life and property. We put the military at the fringes to be able to support the police, but how susceptible are these military people? We have seen how susceptible they have been over the years. You can also use them to rig elections. But we should stop emphasizing the fact that violence should prevent us from going to select our leaders. Because if all of us agree that violence is such a problem we cannot solve, then we leave the field to those who are perpetrating the violence, and we will never get it right.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to now talk about the civic space, which is what you've been talking about from the beginning, but kind of we're going to be a lot more frontal about it. So, as a media veteran, what are some of the challenges with yourself and your colleagues and even the young ones coming after you in navigating the civic space in Nigeria for people to be able to report freely on elections, the things that are happening? What are some of the challenges that are being faced right now?
I think there are a lot of challenges from the media to civil society, the people themselves. We have not had it well with the underrepresented. We have people who are cut off from the meal. We have people who just have given up. They just allow their lives to be run by whoever is in power. They don't even have access to saying what they have to say. Thank God for the radio stations in Nigeria where you have a lot of phone calls enable people to vent their anger. We run a lot of radio, interactive radio programs where people call
Yes.
in and they say they have, even for the fact that they have the opportunity to say what they have got to say, they are excited about it. Now, we have had the Buhari administration that has tried to muzzle the space. Even where it was before, we've tried to look at it. People left the mainstream media that have been strangulated and went into social media. The social media space was we started to bring in laws that will regulate social media. We started to bring in laws that will define hate speech. We started to bring laws that would define things that so people they edit. There's this self-censorship that is going on even in the public space. It is not just in the mainstream media houses where you have an editor who says, look, if I run on this, what will the government say? What will the National Broadcasting Commission say if we run on this story? We saw channels being fined. We saw AIT being fined for broadcast that ordinarily people will say, what is wrong with that? So even that has crept into this civic space. Even to post things on social media, people are we will think twice before they begin to do it. And then we banned Twitter in Nigeria because Twitter did something that didn't run well with the government. But I must say that it is not all hope lost. It is not that okay, we should not look at the strides, some of the steps we have taken. The Nigerian social media space is very active, just as the media is also active. We have constraints, but the public have made use of the citizens media, take on Facebook, take on Twitter, and engage the government. We have a lot of people who are doing that. The civil society organizations are also doing this very well. But what we need is more attention to leveraging on what we have now to expand it so that people can freely, responsibly make use of the space to follow up with governments and make sure that we have a kind of opportunity to participate in the entire process. If you go to the rural communities, who do they even talk to? And most of our population is resident in those areas. So who do they even talk to? What access do they have to the local government? What access do they have to the state government? Who dictates what happens? Do they have access? Do they have impact? Whatever they say or recommend, or do they have community organizations that can say this is what we want? These are some of the things that the civil society groups and the media will still need to work on. If you ask how have we have been navigating the space in Nigeria, it's been difficult. It's been one that you are doing with one eye. You are looking back to see if somebody is going to tell you what you are doing. So you are afraid of some Trump up court charge cases. You go and ask our friends at HEDA, who has had a lot of running battle with the former AGF and all the things they are doing, telling the people about because he came up with facts that they couldn't dispute. Thank God the court has thrown it away. But you see, you are hamstrung by the kind of limitations you have in the space to do what you want to do. People will chase you, they will threaten you, they will file unnecessary cases. You will be the one paying lawyers to defend you. A lot of challenges are out there. It is not easy navigating it.
Okay. Just a follow-up question. So what would you tell like a young journalist, like a young investigative journalist, or someone who is trying to navigate the civic space right now? Like, what would you tell them to be more resilient in Nigeria?
I think it's journalism is a choice. You must make the choice to be a journalist. It's not like you are just passing by. You are not just passing by. You need to make up your mind to be a journalist. Some of us did over 30 years ago to say, look, we want to be we want to be journalists. Being a journalist is so sacrificial. The sacrifice is so much that you really need to be ready, mentally ready to do the job of a journalist. Now, if you are not ready, if you are not willing to do the job of a journalist, you don't need to even go near it. You must understand what it takes to be a journalist. You are like the fourth, you are entering into the class of the fourth estate of the realm. You are like a government. You are the one that have the fine details of what governance should be. You are going to chase corruption. You are going to report exactly what you are ready to also bear the consequences of whatever is going on. The safeguards are very, very few for now. We don't have so much safeguards. Even your media house can even deny you if you are not, if they are not in the same category of media houses that are strong, that will make it possible for you to be defended if anything goes wrong. So for the young journalists, there's a lot of clamor in journalism, particularly in the broadcast sector. There's a lot of attention that you will get. There's a lot of leverages you will have. You can pass through the door without people look at you and say, oh, you have done this, you have done. But you have to also be careful that when you are making up your mind to report, to be a reporter, to be a correspondent, to be an investigative reporter, you want to do investigative journalism, then you need to make up your mind that that is the job you want to do. Now, what we have had is that people who are just looking for jobs just enter journalism. So they get in there and they begin to see that, oh, this road is very, very rough. So they look for shortcuts out. They try to see how to navigate. In most cases, they fall out. Within 5 years, they are out of the job. So we need to make up our mind. That is what I tell my younger ones. Make up your mind. It's a very, very, when you say rewarding profession, we're not talking about the monetary aspect of reward for the journalists. That is not what we are talking about. Yes, if you work hard, you can also be very, very comfortable. But if you want to be a millionaire in dollars and you want to set up a company, you want to run your this thing, and you are just graduating from the university, you think you can do it within 5 years in journalism, then it is not possible. So what we advise our younger ones is that journalism is good. Journalism is one of the eye openers that the society should have, and the kind of monitoring, the duties that their duty to monitor and hold the government accountable, even within the framework of our constitution. And it is one that I encourage young people to go into it with a clear mind.
Okay. So thank you for that, because it's given the challenges with the civic space and getting into and what is happening with journalists at this time. So our next question, what is the role of citizens, you and I, navigating the Nigeria of today, given the issues we face with insecurity, economic uncertainty, and so many other and political challenges? And how do we navigate the Nigeria of today?
I think that this is a very important question, in the sense that we are running a democracy. If we were to be in China, if we were to be in a communist country like North Korea, if we were to be like under a king, under Songhai Empire or the Benin Kingdom, then you begin to just take dictates from the king, take dictates from the dictators. If we're not under a civil rule, but civil rule and democracy presupposes that citizens are involved. But the citizen must be well enlightened, must understand the role that he has to play to be able to play a part in this governance. The governance is not like some persons in Aso Rock taking decisions for everybody. We have not quite recovered from the military rule in Nigeria, despite the fact that we have run democracy for over 20 years now. We have not yet recovered. You see, the president is still a superman. The governor is still a superman. He dictates what happens. He can the president can see you now as a pauper and turn you into a billionaire overnight. And we have seen it. We have seen how they have empowered some persons in Nigeria through some dubious contracts, allocation of oil well, inability, just waivers for import duties alone can make 30 persons just we have seen them. I don't want to begin to name them. Those who became billionaires overnight because of waivers. Bring it in, don't worry, we need it. And then they invest some things and share at the behind the scene. We have seen people have oil well. Ordinary Nigerians are given licensed oil well to run. Now, the citizens need to get up, because we cannot continue to have the entire structure of the power of democratic process just given to one man. I know that we are running on an executive presidency where the president is an executive. They even like calling themselves executive governor, executive president, because they know the powers that flow with it. But we need to recover from this military thing and begin to hold the people accountable through our processes. One of the ways that citizens must participate is through voting. If you are not registered to vote, and you are registered, you are not voting, what you are indirectly telling everybody is that you are not important. You are not important, you are not useful in this entire process. If the road is bad, it is not a problem. If the universities are shut down for 2 years, it is not a problem. What you are indirectly telling everybody, all the other citizens, is that you are not part of the system. You are not interested in what is happening. If there's no medicine in the hospitals, or there are no hospitals, no doctors, it is not a problem. Even all the youths in the Nigeria walk away and across the border and enter other countries, it is not your problem. These are the messages you are sending when you do not vote, when you do not register to vote, and when you do not go out to vote. You have excluded yourself from the exercise. Then the other way that citizens can also be part of it and make sure that they navigate the system and be part of the processes even after the vote. We must not leave our legislators to just do whatever thing they want to do, or the president or the governors or local governments. There must be some organization. We must have community think that we must call them back home and ask them, what are you doing? Constituency projects are going to be cited. They don't ask you what you want. Maybe it is water you want. They give you a road, because they know that the road construction will give them kickback better than the water that you need to get. Why don't you call them and tell them, look, this is what we want? Where are those meetings? Where are those safeguards that we have that citizens can see? If we do not monitor our elected people, they will do whatever thing that they want. So citizens must join hands with the civil society organizations, with the media at various levels. We have so many community associations. The social village club group in Abuja. We have them, the association, National Association of People from social. What are we doing? Are we just doing cultural things without looking at how to be impactful in taking charge of what is happening around us? If we have elected a representative, how do we follow up to be sure that the person is not doing his own bidding in the National Assembly or in the State Assembly, as the case may be? Even at the appointment level, if they appointed somebody from your community to be minister or commissioner, do you even ask them what happens at the Federal Executive Council meeting? Do you even ask them what their contribution is to at the state ESCO meetings? Do you even give them a charter of demands that these are the things we demand from you because this is what we want? You are representing us at that location. Unless we do that as citizens, then those who are in power will just feel it is their field day. For 4 years, 8 years, they will do whatever thing they want to do.
You said something that just really gave me an aha moment, that we haven't really gotten over the military rule and having been ruled by monarchs. So we really need to change our mindset to the democratic rule, even after 20 years. So that was really very insightful, sir. I just want to talk to the audience. If you have any questions for Mr. Agbonsuremi, I see a few scattered down the chat line. We're going to start with that. But if you have any questions, any comments, please make sure that you put them down so that he'll be happy to answer some of these questions. So I saw a question here from Mr. Charles from LinkedIn, Chibuisi Ehiemere, and he said, why can't Nigeria go from biometric consensus and voting? Go for biometric consensus and voting. So that was
biometric census and voting.
Yes, census, yes.
Yeah. If you permit me, I will just quickly respond to that. There's nothing holding us back from going biometric consensus and voting, but there are political undertones. Let me begin with census. The census figure is the biggest lie that Nigeria has on the table, but many people don't know. The census is the biggest lie Nigeria, apart from the lie of 1914 that was told in Nigeria. The next lie is the lie of census, how many we are. I can tell you very categorically, and I'm sure that I am correct, I stand to be corrected, that the Nigerian population is overbloated. It is not the way we are counting it in New York, because we don't even have any data. We are approximating from New York office of the UN, and all the other multilateral organizations tell us how many we are. We are told now that we are over about 220 million, about 250 million the people in Nigeria by the estimate. If you ask Google how many people are in Nigeria, they are not going to the Nigerian Population Commission to give you a figure, because Nigerian Population Commission don't have a figure. The figures they have, they are lies. They will not tell you the figure. They don't even have one. They will tell you the one that happened maybe about 10 years ago, one census that was conducted that in court, they are still disputing, communities are still disputing them. The one we have is just an approximate of what we have had. They tell you in 1960, Nigeria was 54 million. So by an additional 5 years, there should be that figure. Then by 2022, there should be 200, and that is the kind of estimates we have. We don't have any.
That is predictability statistics. Like,
yes, we don't have
kind of
population. We don't have a population figure. So if you check the Independent National Electoral Commission records and look at the number of people who are registered to vote, you will even get it very clearly that voter register is not only padded, it's so padded that you will even cry. I talked about it just now, and it's very logical for anybody to do the calculation. We have 74 million people registered to vote. With all the campaigns and all that we have done, only 28 million people come out to vote. They don't exist anywhere. The figure is the register is padded. Like I said, I stand to be corrected, but this is my very honest opinion and view that everything about us, about our population, is wrong. Is padded. We have not had any useful census in Nigeria to be able to say this is the actual number of people we have. So what has happened is that because of the estimates, politicians have used the opportunity of the estimates to do some wonderful magics and gymnastics with everybody on getting elections. Look at 2019 elections. There were gunshots in Gombe. There were people, local government areas that could not be accessed in Gombe and Borno State. But check the result that came up, the results that came up from those states during the elections. I mean, on the day of election, yes, on the day of election, Boko Haram terrorized communities in those states. About 4 or 5 local governments were under their cover. So many people are in IDP camps, including in Abuja from Borno State. So where did they get those votes from? So they sit down and then they say, oh, that is the figure. If you go to the palaces of the Shehu of Borno, if you go to all they have PVCs that INEC has helped ask them, please, can you help us distribute it to the owners? But I can tell you that they don't have it. They don't have the human beings that have those those cards. So if you also take a look at our own population, the same we have experienced in terms of the actual number of people that exist in Nigeria. We don't have the figures. And for voting, we can do more about the biometrics. We can actually, first of all, we need to bring together define our own identity. The identity recognition. What do we use to recognize ourselves, to identify ourselves? Are we using the national identity card? You know how long we have been working on the national identity card. Are we also employing the driver's license? Are we using the voter card? In other countries around the world, and I know that you have traveled, you have seen it all in terms of the management of national identity. Why is it that it is not possible for us to have the national identity card like within a year? Let us issue identity cards out within a year. Ghana has achieved that. I know that the Ghanaian population is very small, maybe smaller than Keja in Lagos, even maybe Lagos State. But can we make up our mind to say within the year 2022 or 2023, Nigeria has set it up to say we will know everybody in Nigeria will have a national identity. That way we will know how many people we have in Nigeria. That way we will know how many people can be within the range of the voting age between 18 and above. But now, for as we speak, we don't have a correct figure, and they have manipulated it over the years to suit their whims. It's just that their whims and caprice to do whatever they want to do with the figures. Until we get a leader, like I have said in previous encounters, previous radio programs and TV programs, the one person that Nigeria needs to help us entrench our institution is the president and commander-in-chief. If we have a good president and commander-in-chief who believes in these systems we are talking about, he will put his feet down and work with the National Assembly, hold meetings with the state governors and say, we cannot continue on this wrong road forever. We have to start somewhere. And one of the best places to start is our data system. We need to manage how many we are. We need to know what is happening around us. We don't even know how much we get in terms of revenue. So these are some of the things that...
So we don't know our IGR. So what we are seeing in reports are just guesstimates.
Ask them in the NNPC if they actually know how much oil is taken from our soil. We don't know, because we depend on the multilateral organizations who take this oil to tell us how much they have been taking.
They're not going to tell you everything.
They will not tell you everything because they are all beneficiaries of the same matter. So because we don't have data, we don't have anything. What the greatest challenge we have in Nigeria is identity, how many we are, and then the data.
Well, that was quite comprehensive. I think I have another comment here. I think I have another comment here on here. I think he agreed. He said, "God bless you, sir. The population is oversized. Nigeria is about around 100 million or close." So that's even another estimation as well. So the issue with the issue with the NIN. Let me just ask a follow-up question, sir, before I get you to your final thoughts. The issue with the NIN that we're going through, what are your thoughts on that? Because the process seems very clunky as a personal.
The government is not interested in having proper identity for Nigerians because it would bring out the lie in our population figures. If they make up their mind today to say the national identity registration must be completed, set a time frame that this is when we want it. First, it will bring out the. Sorry to say this because this might sound that you are one is looking at the going tribal in the entire matter. Now we have been told by the governor of Bauchi State that Fulanis don't have a country. I go to record, you see, he even said he has relations who are in Cameroon, and they just travel across border. They travel anywhere they settle is their place. Now, if we want to get identity, national identity for Nigerians, it will be impossible for people to walk in from Senegal, from Mali, from Niger, and just enter into Nigeria and travel to my village and just assume Nigerian citizenship. In Sokoto, we were told that the guy that claimed on social media that he was the one that murdered Deborah, the police said they didn't know that they have discovered that the guy is from Niger, that he has crossed the border.
What?
Yes. Now, the meaning, what they are just telling you right away is that those who are actually in our villages speaking Hausa, which they are entitled to speak, many of them are not Nigerians. And there's nothing preventing them from entering Nigeria, because if you know the thousands of routes that you can use to enter Nigeria from across, it's just like someone Adebayo from Republic of Benin entering Badagry, Lagos, and settling down. And it's Adebayo. The next time he will vote. And so it's not just in the north. So when one is not just looking at what is happening, even in the south, somebody can leave Togo and just come in with a name Fumi because they are Yorubas. They will just come in and stay and enter Ikeja, and by the time he or she lives 5 years, is registered to vote, because there's nothing that prevents such a person from registering. So we have a system that clearly supports the criminality of forced population, which they use to deceive everybody, and they are not interested in changing it. That is the problem with the national identity registration. It is the same it's also the same problem with population census. They don't want us to have the number of people that we have, so that we don't know where they come from. The day Nigeria will have national identity to the child that is born in Nigeria, that is before the child is discharged from the hospital, they give a national identity number. That day is the day we'll have all the challenges resolved. But I can assure you that it is not in the interest of the current leaders, the entrenched leadership we have in Nigeria, to have national identity. That is why Obasanjo blew up about 16 billion on it. We didn't get it. And this successive government, they are blowing money on it. They are not interested in pursuing it to its logical.
Because I think I was talking to somebody from NIMSI, and he said that that they've been trying to ask the government for money for more servers. They're like, we need more servers. There's so much data. We need more servers, and they're not even paying attention to them. So
no, they will not pay. They will not pay any attention to them. It doesn't serve the interest. You don't need. Look, if we make up our mind that we want to have national identity for a card for everybody, we want to have ID card for everybody, it's very possible within a year. We can actually set a timeline to say by the year 2024. By the year 2024, every Nigerian will have a national identity card. So such that we begin it from we can actually start from those who are elderly, from the old people down to the child that is born today. And say if you are 40 years and above, you must have national identity card. Now the time is for those who are 35 to 40. Now this time is for those who are 10 to 20. Now the time is for those who are day 1 to 10. So we take it down so that by the time we are registering somebody who is 4 years old, we already know everybody in Nigeria who is 70 years old, who is 80 years old. We can do that. We can achieve that, but we don't want to do it because it is not in the interest of the political class to have the population figures correctly. So they know that if everybody get national identity, there will be a figure that you will put together and everybody will have a figure. And that is, we'll have a number. If we have a number, that is the end of the entire lies about our population.
Okay, so I just saw that I had a question that I didn't ask earlier, which I think it's an important one. As you know, the elections are coming up, and we're going to have a new administration. What would be your recommendation to the new elected administration to begin to ensure good governance? Because I know that your public conscience.
If we do not elect good persons, please, we cannot get good governance from the process that is on now. I'll be we cannot get good governance. You cannot do, I think it was Dr. Chuba Okadibo that says, it is madness for you to do something in the same way and expect a different result. If you are repeating 1 + 1, you get 2, whether it's in Damaturu, whether it's in Ogwama village in Edo State, whether it is in America. If you ask 1 + 1 will give you 2. If you want a different figure, add up other figures. Put 4 + 4 together, you get 8. But the way we are going, we are not likely to get the kind of good governance that we are getting from the process that is going on, except Nigerians come out this time and say, this crop of people that are thrown up by the politicians, by political parties, we have to take the best out of them. And it doesn't have to be PDP or APC or Labour Party or any party. We just need to look at the one that is best for us, whichever party, and vote for. If we do not do that, we are just going to run around the same circle and come back. All these discussions will continue. I don't see an Atiku Abubakar being president solving the problem. I don't, if Ahmed Bola Tinubu comes on to be president, I don't see him being the solution to our problem. I don't also see even Peter Obi, if he runs on this same system we are running, this same system, being the best that we have. All we need to do is to have a president from amongst them who can change the system. We need a restructuring of the Nigerian Federation. When we talk of restructuring, we are not just talking about restructuring North-South. We are looking at the total gamut of restructuring. We are looking at our economy. We are looking at our population. We are looking at our educational system. We are looking at who is in charge of repairing the roads. Must the federal government be the one to sink a borehole in Iroa in Edo State? Why? Why don't the local government get those? We need to restructure things down. Then we'll have solution to our problems. For now, I am not seeing any such optimism that will give us the kind of thing that we'll get no matter who comes on, except we restructure Nigeria and make it functional. If you ask Bishop Kuka to be president of Nigeria and ask Gumi to be his vice president, they will have problem under this system that we have. I don't want to use what Obasanjo, former President Obasanjo said, that if you ask Jesus Christ to be president in Nigeria, he will still fail. But it's almost as close as that, because the system is what permits you to operate and bring out the best in you. As long as this system is in place, no matter who becomes president, will not have it right. Except the first assignment that president will do is to restructure Nigeria.
I see. So that restructuring that's being clamored over the years, in various conversations, that should be at the forefront of whoever comes in. It's like, okay, we need to restructure. Otherwise, it would not it will not work. So that is really pretty much what you're saying in a nutshell. Okay, so I'm just going to I think there were a few comments. I mean, this is such an engaging, this is some of the most engaging conversations that I've seen, because the comments are just the comments are really going, sir. So and then somebody said, give an NGO the task of NIN and it will be done in 8 months. He also put, I've registered for NIN since 2013. I'm yet to receive my NIN card. And then there's another comment on what you just said. more people need to get involved on the ward level. The delegates determine the candidates, and we have to choose them from to get the right candidates. Okay, sir, we're just gonna get your final thoughts.
Yeah, I think you're doing a very wonderful job with the series. You're running the dev sector series. You're doing a wonderful job. I am hoping that we see you in a more formal TV presentation to get it to more people. We need the conversation to continue at what level. That's what we also do at PRIMORG, the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, a concept that is also helping, working with other civil society organizations to broaden the civil space, to make sure that everybody will have a right and reduce corruption and allow people, the decent voices, to be heard. We want more of the underrepresented to be represented. We want voices of the people to be part of governance. We want Nigerians to understand that they are the people that make up the government, and that we should walk away with this mentality of a king in the villa, a king in government house, that we are not under the kingship. We are not under also a dictatorship like Abacha. We are under a democracy, and that if we decline, refuse, and neglect to vote, take part in elections, we are actually abdicating our responsibilities. We are saying that everything is fine, and that we are saying we are not important in the scheme of things. I think this is the message that you are giving out. You are strengthening the civil society group by the kind of work that you are doing. And I do think that with time, working with other communities in the civic space, with the media, Nigerians will begin to get to understand that they need to take part in the entire process. And until we all begin to take part in the entire process, we will have dictatorship. Dictatorship is what we actually have now. In quote, we have some trait of where a president or a governor just decides what he wants to do and nobody asks any questions. That is what dictatorship is all about. We need to begin to ask the questions. And I think we are getting there. There's this silver lining that at least we are talking now. The media is also operating, although we have some challenges. It is one of the most vibrant in the world. We have the social media space. We have vibrant Nigerians. We have a space that we can make use of. We should all collectively make use of it in order to better our lot and improve the lives for ourselves and our children.
Thank you so much, sir. This was such a rich conversation. I mean, the comments were on fire while you were talking and having this conversation with us on democracy in Nigeria, if there's hope. But based on the conversation that I've had with you, sir, we've had right now, is that Nigeria needs restructuring, pretty much, so that the community and citizens can be more engaged in governance. Again, sir, thank you so much. And this is not going to be our last conversation.
So I'm always available. Thank you so much. And thanks to all those who watched and who listened. And we just hope that the message sinks and we are all good. Thank you for having me on the program.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a good one, sir.
You too.
Bye-bye. Man, that was such a rich conversation from Mr. Okhiria Agbonsuremi. That was a really rich conversation. Again, please tune in to the Development Sector Series, which is Dev Sector Series. We're here every week, every Wednesday at 12 noon. So what's coming up next? We're going to be interviewing one of the social innovators from Leap Africa as they turn 20 years old. Another announcement I want to make, we are going to be launching the documentary Untold Impact really, really soon. We're in post-production phase and things are going really well. We're working around the clock so that we can continue to highlight the critical role of civil society in national development. So I am just going to show you a quick snippet of our interview with Mr. David Ayele from the Center for Citizens with Disabilities. Watch and enjoy. I'll see you next week, Wednesday at 12 noon. Let's change the world together, okay? So I'm going to share this with you, and then I'll see you next week. Okay, it looks like it's in a it's in a different file. So what I am going to do is I'm going to share the video at another time. But I am very, very excited about the Untold Impact documentary. It's coming really, really, really soon. Let me just, since you all are here, let me just try to get it out from my drive. Just a second. I think it should be coming up shortly. So hang in there with me. Hang in there. Just hang tight, okay? Thanks again. Thanks again. All right. Here it is. Okay. So we're just gonna go with all right, here it is. See you next week. Bye.
By the time you finish this work, you become an expert in one thing of it.
I'm very excited about this because I'm passionate about letting the citizens understand what civil society is doing. We're doing so much. I think you talked about Afghanistan just now. It's like a civil society that is keeping the cracks together. If not for civil society, every man for his own and God for us all. That's the way I see it.
I was not born with disability. I acquired disability during my visit, Freetown, Sierra Leone. I went for a business trip in 1999. The driver captured me because of my identity as an engineer. In the course of negotiating for my release, my two limbs were chopped off. I was evacuated back to Nigeria. My experience in the struggle to get rehabilitation and reintegration exposed me to the ugly part of being in Nigeria with disability. There was no access to rehabilitation, there was no integration, there was no even psychologists who can come to traumatize you, support you in the traumatization exercise. The systems hates you, nobody wants to see you. Even the religious leaders don't want to see you. The political leaders see you as a burden. Everywhere you go, you are excluded, you are stigmatized, you are used as an object of charity. As such, the system dehumanizes you. That is my experience. I was able to overcome it through renewing of my mind. I understand that I may not survive this if I don't renew my mind. Renew my mind includes accepting that I have been lost. That's the first thing. Accepting that people will stigmatize me, people will discriminate against me. Accepting that I may not be able to do the things I used to do before. Accepting that the life is going to be hard against me. So by accepting that, I begin to build resilience within me. To say, how do I overcome this? How do I eat without external assistance? How do I feed myself? How do I wear my clothes? How do I move around? How do I write? How do I drink without looking for someone to support me? I was able to overcome all the stages of my reintegration back to the society, through inspiration, divine inspiration. And nobody taught me how to do all those. So the process that led to my, rehabilitation and reintegration, to me, I say it is divine.